So we are recording just right now our first reactions.
Yeah, quick response. Trump watch. Is he alive? Not spiritually. That bitch is dead. Electorally
dead.
That's right, because all the major news networks, we're talking MSNBC, we're talking CNN, we're talking Fox News. They've all called it for former Vice President Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. and Senator Kamala Devi Harris as President and Vice President of the United States. Luch, how you feeling?
I'm feeling so relieved. You know, if a year ago you showed me the screen, it'd be like, Joe, he wasn't even doing well in the primaries. But right now, I'm just so relieved to have, to quote Borat, McDonald Trump out of here. I hate that man so much. Yeah. Sorry to anyone listening who has a big old crush on him. I don't know why you're listening.
A sloppy crush on our big wet president.
But, like, and Trump, okay, I'm so relieved. I've got 2 dogs laying on me. It rained this morning in LA. A good omen, honestly, the rain. So it feels like washing away the orange, creamy...
freakin Cheeto in the White House.
The freakin Cheeto. It's licking the fingers, Cheeto fingers.
Yeah, we're licking our Cheeto fingers.
Off our little mitts. So, so relieved. So some great things to note. First female vice president ever.
Yeah, first female in either of the 2 highest offices of the executive branch, so president or vice president, which we all know. Second black person elected to either of those offices, and first black vice president, as well as, let's not forget this, the first Indian American to be in either of those 2 offices.
So first Asian.
Yeah, so which means first Asian American.
So that is a big deal, regardless
Child of 2 immigrants.
Child of 2 immigrants, regardless of Kamala's, record. They do at least acknowledge the virus is real.
Yeah.
They're pro-mask.
Biden is also the oldest president ever elected, which is, kind of something. And he is also the second non-Protestant president to be elected.
And Joe Biden didn't go to an Ivy League school.
Yes, first president to have not gone to an Ivy League school since Ronald Reagan. Look, Joe
Only
Biden...
president to have appeared on Parks and Rec.
That's true. Because John McCain lost. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are both politicians with problematic records, problematic platforms that this show is going to be keeping accountable for the next 4 to 8 years, depending on how long they're in. We're not going to shy away from our criticisms of this ticket. But today, I can say that I'm very happy. I'm very relieved.
Yes, and the DSA had a great tweet that was like, it's okay to celebrate the fall of a dictator. Or,
Yeah, I think
an authoritarian, a tyrant.
Sic Semper Tyrannis.
Sic Semper Tyrannis. It's just such a relief. So we have been having, the news on...
For days. Since Tuesday.
Kyle has been like, they could call it any minute, so let's have it on. I'm relieved that Joe has actually won by a good margin.
Yeah.
I was worried that it was, so close that his people no matter what are gonna be a nightmare. Yeah, but it's close enough that for me, I don't feel like they basically tied and Joe slithered by a little more.
Yeah.
There's a substantial...
Biden won pretty firmly. It doesn't feel like it because of how long it's taken. But when all is said and done, Biden is going to have more than 50% of the electoral vote, something like 4 million more votes. He's going to have one of the highest shares of the popular vote since Obama, but in general in recent times. He's probably going to get 306 electoral votes, which is as many as Trump got in 2016. It's a commanding performance. It is a strong, unambiguous win.
And right now he has more votes than any person has ever gotten for president.
Yeah, he's received the most raw votes of any person that's ever run for president in the United States history.
So that's good about voter turnout. Stacey Abrams' Georgia voter turnout efforts have been successful.
It seems like he's going to take Georgia, so that's great.
I'm really glad about the mail-in ballots, which Trump has still been on record saying that they're all fake.
Yeah, well, he doesn't know what he's
QAnon is saying there's watermarks on all the ballots, and that's how they're going to arrest the Democrats. What's great is Trump was literally about to make a speech from Pennsylvania, probably saying the same thing he said the other night, which was suppressive polls and none of these ballots are valid. They just keep finding mail-in ballots, which, as you may remember, in the debates and all his speeches, he said that mail-in ballots are bad and not to do them. And so it's like he's not getting any mail-in ballot votes. So it's very funny. Kyle is drinking from his Commander-in-Chief mug, which we'll take a picture of, which is from the Reagan Library in Simi Valley, which I had to go to on a school field trip. Kyle's never been. I got it at the Salvation Army because Kyle's such a nerd. It's just, so no money went to the Reagan Library. It went to the Salvation Army, which also is problematic and sucks.
Worse.
Yeah, maybe the Salvation Army is worse.
The Reagan Library's not doing anything now.
Yeah, the Reagan Library is just like, here's some jelly beans in a bowl.
Yeah.
So we're feeling very relieved.
Yeah, we're both feeling really good. I was going to say, too, that not only did Biden win pretty convincingly, he also kind of dramatically overperformed the Senate, which is a problem the Democrats are going to have to deal with in the next 4 years. It means there's a lot of people that voted for Biden and the Republican nominee for Senate in whatever place they're in. So that's something that'll have to be dealt with. But today, Biden won. He won pretty convincingly. Trump's going to throw a shit fit. He's going to try to sue. He's going to try to return it. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Trump's never had successful lawsuits.
No.
He's always threatening or tries to sue people, and it just doesn't work out. A lot of other Republicans are, I think it was the Attorney General of Georgia or something said that Trump's claims that he submitted were garbage. Pennsylvania. There's great, just go out and feel happy and enjoy.
Have a good day today.
Have a good day today. Have a good week this week. There's been videos our friends have been posting of New York, everyone screaming and shouting and happy. People are gathering. We live in the suburbs and a pretty conservative area, so
it's quiet outside.
It's quiet, but it's been raining. It's so nice. We have coffee. We have pets.
What? A wise man once said, someday a real rain is going to come and wash all this filth from the streets. And today that is what has happened.
Yes, and I'm going to sniff my dogs, sniff our cat Penny on the belly in honor of Joe Biden.
Because of my allergies, but I love them.
Yeah, Kyle's allergies. He's not going to be doing any sniffing. I have always, regardless of the highs and lows I've felt about Joe throughout him being vice president and then this election, I have always been very struck by the tragedies he's endured. And so, we're watching that on TV. They're talking about how he didn't want to go into the Senate and he didn't leave Delaware.
Yeah, just to get the timeline correct if anybody's uncertain. So famously, his wife and daughter died, and his sons Hunter and Beau were wounded in a car accident. What I think a lot of people may not realize is that car accident happened just before Christmas, right after he'd been elected to the Senate, before he was sworn in. And he didn't want to get sworn in. He wanted to go home and be with his boys. The Senate Majority Leader convinced him to stay. And then the reason he never moved to D.C., he never lived in D.C. until he became vice president. The entire time he was a senator, he lived in Wilmington, and he rode the train to and from the Capitol building every day so that he could raise his kids. And look, whatever else is wrong with Joe Biden, any of the issues surrounding his personal life, which we're very sympathetic to, and his problematic record, all of that, I think that we can take a moment today and respect the human compassion of that, and to have a level of human compassion for somebody who just as recently in these Hunter Biden text releases has demonstrated a very true, real love for his family. And that's something that we cannot take for granted in our elected officials, to be honest.
We've been enjoying Steve Kornacki. I thought he was much older than he is, especially because I never look at him up close. And I also realized I mixed him up with the Mad Money guy.
Jim Cramer?
Yeah, I mixed them up with Jim Cramer because they're both like on the TV flailing at.
They got the rolled up sleeves and they're yelling and.
Yeah, I feel like Kyle could be Steve Kornacki in another life or the same life if Steve Kornacki just implodes after these multi-day benders. The longer these elections take, the more they're taking out of Steve Kornacki.
Yeah.
Some other observations. Joe Biden's nose used to be so much bigger. His head used to be so much balder. He used to have so much more of a turkey neck.
He had giblets.
He had the turkey gobble. Giblets
No,
are
it's a waddle. He had a waddle.
He had a waddle, which I'm not waddle shaming. It's just very funny to see all these Joe. He had a mullet and a bald mullet like Riff Raff from Rocky Horror, and
and a turkey's waddle.
A turkey waddle and a big pointy nose and
small hooded
eyes. And now he looks like old Captain America in Endgame, which I think was, how they made in a lab.
Yeah.
The guy that was gonna beat Trump. I'm just so glad. I think this officially means the hashtag resistance is over.
Oh, I'm happier about that than anything else.
Everyone's getting their takeout brunch. Yeah, and you know what? We kind of had brunch today. We woke up early, but we had...
I'm still not opposed to the idea of ordering some kind of brunch.
Yeah, I don't even... I don't know if I could stomach some brunch right now, but I in spirit...
It can be for lunch. It's only 9:30
lunch brunch.
Behind the scenes a little bit here.
Yeah, and, it's just...
I'm more than happy to let the hashtag resistance fall to the wayside, go back to brunch.
And you know what? I fucking hope he packs the courts. He doesn't want to, but he doesn't want to. I don't think he's really going to, and I know it would cause some drama, but I think when he gets into the White House, and if Mitch McConnell's being weird and all this stuff, then it's like, and if he's going to keep... I think he should just nominate, and then Mitch McConnell will shoot it down, and just nominate.
That's the thing.
Until Mitch McConnell dies. Because Mitch McConnell's, in his 80s. He keeps falling and getting purple bruises, or what's the disease from Game of Thrones?
Yeah, he's got grayscale.
That's
a good running bit for the show.
Yeah, so Mitch McConnell, the turtle, will die of grayscale.
Biden also looks like Jorah now.
Biden does look like Jorah. They've made him...
He looks like skinny old Jorah.
Yeah. Wow, that plastic surgeon really filed down his nose. That's, impressive.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Sometimes he looks like a shark.
It's the best money could buy.
Joe Biden sometimes looks like Jabberjaw in these old pictures. It's just so relieved. And so throughout the election, we've been watching... God, I hope that this sounds okay with the news in the background. I think it's a little aesthetically cool.
If it doesn't, then we can take clips of this and put it in the episode throughout.
Yeah.
And do a proper wrap up.
I think so.
Kind of first
I do think.
Sounds great. We just released
I think it's cool for listeners that there's the news in the background because this is historic. They're just saying stuff about Joe, and no cutting to Trump making his speech. Trump probably didn't make his speech, which is great. But. Yeah, so relieved. And so some observations. So on election night, we had MSNBC on, and, they didn't really have a lot to say or do, and all the hosts are really dumb.
Is this media criticism corner?
Yeah, but then we switched to Fox, and it was the only time Fox has been watchable. Yeah. For one thing, they were the only ones who called Arizona.
Yeah.
So the other channels were not calling Arizona. They had Joe at 250 votes, and they had Joe at 260 and ish, and Trump was so mad and was pressuring Fox to take it down, and they wouldn't, which was cool. And it kind of felt like a little Mutiny on the Bounty moment of them all being it had who's is it Joe Wallace who Chris Wallace who moderated the second to last debate, and Trump just eviscerated Chris Wallace was so mean to me. So I think it's great that we were watching Fox and Chris Wallace is we'll see how he does. They were very they were very for once fair and balanced. They were just talking about it was actually okay coverage. Of course, now it'll be back to whatever.
Yeah,
but
I want to jump in real quick because I think that there's a greater point to be made here. Which is
than my point?
I meant bigger.
Make my point great again.
I meant bigger overarching point, not higher quality. Your point was perfect.
Thank you.
And cute and button-nosed and thick. But I think that the significance of Fox News calling Arizona and sticking to it is related to the way that the New York Post kind of immediately started to turn on Trump as soon as he started looking like a loser, which is basically the Rupert Murdoch empire signaling, we are not standing by you on this. Like, if you win, but we are not going to tilt the scales for you at all. And I think that Murdoch, through Fox and New York Post and all that, signaling that is a huge part of why this has just been allowed to honestly go relatively smoothly. It took long, but it's gone smoothly. There hasn't been violence. There hasn't been major legal challenges.
There hasn't really been any tangible proof of any...
There hasn't been any evidence, let alone proof. Yeah. So I think that
Republicans haven't been able to decide on if Trump's claims, or what claims to even say, and a lot of Republicans have been tweeting, like Republican politicians have been tweeting, that this is madness, Trump's accusations, he has to just stop and let democracy happen, which is pretty indicative of Republicans seeing the way the wind is blowing and wanting to save their own election chances.
Exactly, yeah.
2024.
Yeah, and it just, there's no evidence of any fraud, obviously.
Or frogs.
There's no frogs.
Except for Pepe.
Just Pepe's. So, we're all feeling really good.
270, so Joe got 273, and so we didn't need the Electoral College to be a tiebreaker, right? Or, like, we didn't need the electors.
All the stuff we talked about the election going to a tie was all stuff that was almost definitely not going to happen, and it turned out it didn't.
Such a relief.
Yeah. It was a possibility, but it ended up closing pretty early. And, Biden won. He's going to win the Electoral College. He's won the popular vote by a lot. It's a win.
So compared to 2016, Hillary won the popular vote by a lot?
By less than Joe did.
Wow. So Hillary must be so pissed. Hillary won the popular vote in 2016 but lost the Electoral College. This time Joe has won both, which is a resounding victory.
Yes.
So so whatever legal stuff Trump tries to do, a lot of these people will look foolish trying to challenge the win.
I mean, the best example of how bad this is going for Trump is the Bush v. Gore, which we talked about last episode. Mm-hmm. The Bush effort was overseen by a man named James Baker. James Baker was Reagan's Secretary of State, I think. He was I don't like
party loyalist.
Not just that, but I don't like his politics, but he was brilliant. He was a brilliant statesman. He's still alive. Mm-hmm. But he was a brilliant legal scholar and statesman. Very well respected across the board, right? And so when they started trying to fight Pennsylvania, Kushner said, we got to get James Baker. We got to get a James Baker type to lead our stuff. First of all, James Baker has said, give it up. There's no case here.
He tweeted it. I saw it.
Yeah. And the James Baker types that they got, they put a man named David Bossie in charge, who is not a lawyer. And otherwise the team is Corey Lewandowski, the former 2016 Trump campaign manager who had to quit after assaulting a Breitbart reporter, and Rudy Giuliani. So it's a clown car.
Famed Borat star, Rudy Giuliani.
Co-star. So it's a clown car of idiots that it's not going to do anything. It doesn't matter.
Also, I did a poll on Twitter of who would you rather marry, and
who are the options?
The options were Rudy Giuliani.
It was Don and Eric, right?
Don Jr. and the other was Pence, I think.
Okay.
And Giuliani won. Some people's argument was he'll die sooner. We'll see.
Well, I think because you faked out with Barron. It was Barron, J.K., Rudy. I think maybe some people hit it thinking it was Barron.
That's true, and you can't undo one of those votes.
That's right. Just like you can't undo your vote for president, and neither can Trump. All right, let's wrap this up.
Wrap it up. Mark Meadows, who is Trump's
Chief of Staff,
he just got the Rona, and
hilarious.
What? Hilarious.
Hilarious.
I thought he said Hillary's. I was like, got the Rona from Hillary because they were kissing. Mark Meadows, the Chief of Staff, he was walking around the White House without a mask, and on election night, all gloating, and reporters were like, "Can you put the mask on?" He was like, No. And now he has the Rona.
So does Matt Gaetz, the congressman from Florida. Very funny.
Oh, Matt Gaetz, he's such a douche. You know, I won't say it's karma, because it's not. But, just we're so relieved. Trump has been so bad for everything. Joe is a lot of the same, and it's not like, oh, we could use that, but it's just like we know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Trump is such a wild card and such a real sociopath and psychopath that it's like you really can't predict him, and so you can't work with him. I feel like you can work with career politicians and lobbyists.
Better the devil you know.
Like, if Joe Biden can be bought, then let's buy him and try to move him left. Trump can't be bought, actually.
And that's the problem.
That's the problem. Not a very good deal. So I'm so happy. I'm so happy for my friends of color. I'm so happy for my trans and queer friends.
Yeah, much safer in Joe Biden's America. And look, you know, symbolism, representation isn't everything, but it's very cool to have a black Indian American female vice president.
Yeah, and you know, Kamala has, you know, teamed up with Bernie in the past on Medicare for All.
Kamala's going to be even easier to push than Biden.
So it's like, you know, we'll see. I think Joe and Kamala both want to be cool. They want to be liked. Trump wants to be adored, but in like a really mommy-daddy issue
Trump
way.
wants to be liked, but he is not willing to do anything to make that happen. He just thinks everyone should like him.
And Trump is, you know, Joe might yell at people that disagree with him and say, go vote for the other Biden. Yeah. But Trump will literally say, let's round them up and let's pass a bill. And
he'll cut fire aid to California because Shelley Duvall was very rude to me or whatever.
Shelley Duvall cut me in line at the buffet. So
Richard Dreyfuss was very impolite to me, so California, bye-bye.
So, we're so happy. We're so relieved. And a lot of people have died in the past 4 years that, you know, never got to see Trump out of the White House. You know, even the people that passed away right in 2016.
Yeah.
And saw the way the wind was blowing and were so upset. You know, it's like this win, it's the least we could do for all these people that have suffered and have been had their lives negatively affected by Trump.
Yeah, I mean, everyone that's died of COVID.
Yeah.
John Prine.
Yeah, so,
Herman Cain.
I almost said Tim Kaine. I was trying to say Herman Cain.
Yeah, Tim Kaine died of COVID.
Tim Kaine died of embarrassment. No, in 2016. So we're gonna keep having a good day, and please have a great week. We are a chicken in every pod.
And we love you.
Cluck, cluck.
Cluck, cluck.
Skinny Al Sharpton, why you so skinny? What did you eat? What didn't you eat? Skinny Al Sharpton, Skinny Al Sharpton, regular Rachel Maddow. Who even are you anyway? Skinny Al Sharpton, regular Maddow. What even is the American dream? Skinny Al Sharpton, winning Joe Biden. What did he do? What didn't he do? Skinny Al Sharpton, Skinny Al Sharpton, plastic surgery Biden, winning in Scranton, PA. Regular Mika, Marion, Morning Joe. What does it mean?